I've got a few fires to put out, and it's a double game week, but luckily enough I've got 2 free transfers. Let's get straight into the team selection. Building from the back, I'm starting Pickford over Turner. He faces Luton at home, which you could argue is the easiest game of the season. I'm not going to count on it though because it is the Everton defence. To be honest, I do try to look forwards rather than backwards. Luton at home, then Bournemouth at home are 2 easy back-to-back fixtures. Then hopefully when it gets difficult, Turner can step in. Hopefully he doesn't lose that first team spot. So obviously Pickford stays for now. If I could bring in any goalkeeper without spending a free transfer, that probably would be Areola because his points per million will be pretty high. That would also help me fund the expensive attacking players that I plan on bringing in. I will discuss that soon. If you are going to wildcard in the near future, I don't mind either of the double game week goalkeepers. In defence, I've got Trippier against Burnley at home. He continues Newcastle's easy fixture run, and since I bought him in game week 5, he got 8 points, then 18 points last game week. I do think it's worth that extra premium above the other Newcastle defenders. If you need to bring in a defender this game week and money's no issue, he's your man. Next up is Ruben Diaz against Wolves away, and unfortunately that's City's last easy fixture for quite a while. After this game week, 7 of his next 8 fixtures are Arsenal away, Brighton at home, United away, Chelsea away, Liverpool at home, Spurs at home, and Villa away. He does get to play Bournemouth at home in the middle of all that, and City do have a good defence, but the clean sheet odds aren't worth it for the price. So I do plan on selling him next game week, and it will be for a player that's got better fixtures and is cheaper, might be a Newcastle defender, or possibly cash from Villa, we'll see about that. The last starting defender is Bayer against Newcastle away and Luton away. There is a decent chance he could keep a clean sheet against Luton away because that's a decent fixture. I don't fancy it against Newcastle away. I'd be quite content if he just came away with 2 points and that just bumps up his points tally. If you've got any double game week defenders with decent expected minutes, I think it's worth starting them. In my case, it's Chilwell against Fulham away that's had to make way for him, and that's because he's been benched in the last couple of fixtures. If he had similar expected minutes to Ruben Diaz, I would put him in ahead of him because he's got a higher ceiling. Next to him on the bench is Asula and Baldock, both from Sheffield United. They face West Ham away, which isn't too bad of a fixture, but right now they are flagged in the game and it looks like they're not going to be available to play. This has been recorded before the press conferences. Hopefully I do get that extra insurance on the bench, but I don't think they'll need to step in anyway. Moving on to midfield, the United double up of Rashford and Bruno face Palace at home, and that's a pretty average fixture. I don't think it's worth selling these players just for the sake of it. I know that Bruno hauled in the last match and Rashford blanked in his last 2, but it could easily flip around. Don't fall for the outcome bias. However, if you want to get Son or Salah and captain them, and selling either Rashford or Bruno is your best route to get them, I think that's completely fine. I would sell Rashford over Bruno because he does cost more and Bruno's got the penalty duties. Next up is Saka against Bournemouth away, and it does look like he might be injured because he's not been training recently. I'll wait until Arteta's next press conference to make a decision. If he is still injured, I'm going to have to sell him. There are a couple of decent routes that I could take. I could either bring Son in and captain him next game week against Luton away. That's whilst Haaland has to face Arsenal away. I could even downgrade Saka to Diaby, so I could upgrade my next player, which is Sterling, to Salah, and then I'd have to downgrade Chilwell to a cheaper defender, but then I'd have to go without Son. I can't see a way that I'm going to fix Son and Salah in this team unless a wildcard. That is an option that I'm strongly considering, but ideally I'd like to wildcard after dead ending into game week 18, which is a blank game week, where City and Brentford blank, then wildcard in game week 19, where there might be a double game week in game week 20. I could double or triple up on the double game week teams and gain an advantage over most FPL managers that way. I will have to decide my wildcard soon because I don't want to go spending my free transfers on long-term plans when I'm just going to wildcard soon, and I could take some short-term punts. And obviously I don't want to make some short-term punts if I'm only going to wildcard after game week 18 anyway. So I will probably decide next game week if I'm going to wildcard in the near future or not. It will probably either be game week 8, game week 9 or game week 10. Make sure you subscribe so you don't miss my game week 8 team selection video. My penultimate midfielder is Sterling against Fulham away. It is a decent fixture, but for some reason the Chelsea forwards just don't look like they've got the shooting boots on. It is the second to last easy fixture in this block of easy fixtures for Chelsea. They've got Burnley away next game week, then that's it. So far they've let me down. The underlying stats are decent, but I really need them to start performing quickly. Lastly is Mbeumo against Forest away. It does look like the Forest defence has improved this season. It is based on a small sample size though, so I do think it's still a decent fixture. I know that he's blanked in his last couple of fixtures, but one of them was Newcastle away, to be fair to him. and he has got a decent fixture coming up now, and I do think it's worth keeping him. He has got promising underlying stats, he's on penalty duties, he's playing out of position, he's got a few decent fixtures coming up. I don't see a reason to sell him because I think he's going to provide good value for money. I bought him for 6.5 mil, and I've got 4 price rises out of him so far. Up front, I've got the 2 runners for captaincy. It's Haaland against Wolves away, and Morris against Everton away, and Burnley at home in his double game week. Morris is actually one of my free transfers that I've already brought in. I sold Jackson ahead of his price drop. If you need to make a forward transfer this game week, I think Morris is the best player to bring in. It's only 5.5 mil. He lets you reinvest those funds. If you've not already got Trippier, you can buy him. It might help you fund Salah or Son in midfield as well. It does work better if you're going to wildcard in the near future because he does only look good for 3 game weeks. Even if you keep him after that, the extra fixture is still included in that, and he is only 5.5 mil, so he will probably provide decent value for money anyway. And like I said, it might help you fund premium players. As for captaincy, make sure you subscribe so you don't miss my best captain video. I'm going to analyse all of the underlying stats for these 2 players and conclude with which one is the best option.